My name is Ben Bedard, and these are my Lego Disney mech creations. And I feel like they answer the question that started in 2014, which is, when is there going to be Disney mechs? And I've answered that question, so the world of Lego and the world beyond that can stop asking. Here they are. To start off with, we have Frostbite, probably the most difficult and fragile one, the last one I completed, and certainly the second biggest one. The concept with this one was divided right down the middle. So we have Elsa piloting half and Anna piloting the other half. Over here we've got Anna, and she's got her axe, which is engraved with the word wolf fang in Norwegian. And then down on Elsa's side, she's got her ice cannon, and it's got the nice little LED lighting it up, which can't be seen all that well, but still it's there. And of course, because we have a role reversal here, we have Christoph as the mechanic doing his work, keeping the mech in top condition.
Yes, and I love how this is like double piloted here. That's super cool.
At this size, it really needs to be.
Now, what's that internal structure like? Because you've just got a lot of kind of like panels around the outside.
Yeah, so it's a very basic structure like you might see if you built a hot air balloon out of Lego. Just a couple of cross pieces to just give it just enough structure without weighing it down. Like I said, it's fragile. It's I've lifted it up in the wrong way, and boom, there goes the hips, there goes the legs. So I had to rebuild that, as everyone does occasionally. You got to rebuild.
One thing that's super cool about each of these builds is you kind of have a platform with like accessories sort of next to it?
I kind of imagine it as their home away from home. I imagine these as hangars. Okay. If I had all the money and all the Lego, it would be quite a concept of a hangar for each one. But this is what we have. So these are the hangars, their habitats, if you will, where they're living when they're not piloting their mechs. And this one, of course, is a double platform because we got two pilots. And Elsa as the queen, she's on the top level. And then see her ice weapons that she's either created or had commissioned for herself. Yeah, so that's that.
Super fun idea. Let's go on to the next one then.
Certainly. Beastmaster here is your Belle mech. And I started off with this, the head, which I believe is from Shima. And I worked sort of backwards from there. And the whole concept is I wanted something that was very primal, something that was beast-like. The other detail that I really was interested in is like a rose mace or flail. So when we got to the weapon that Beastmaster would have, I knew it was going to have to be something on a chain with a little rose at the end to sort of tie into the rose of the Beauty and the Beast movie. And then we've got a few other details that are specific to Belle in her habitat. Of course, a giant bookshelf, the croissant for being in France, a reading light, and the little tiny rose under the glass dome. Each mech has like a little vehicle or a way to get around within the hangars. Frostbite's got the little skids on the little car in the back, but Belle's just got like a little golf cart. So that's pretty much Belle, in a nutshell.
Yeah. I like how you even created like the ladder to get into the mech and everything, all those little details.
Yeah, so I wanted to be people to easily recognize that this is the Belle one, this is the Ariel one. And if I put them in the mechs, especially the Beastmaster where, she's sort of really protected, I think that concept would be lost. So I thought the walkways was a really clever way to show how they get in the mechs and then also who they are.
So what's in the next hangar then?
Certainly, we've got Trident 1. The name is, of course, a nod to the trident that Ariel's father has in the movie. And then the mech, which I imagine is submersible, it's a sub-mech, has a trident in the front. And the color concept was not consistent. Most of them are all one color or, maybe one or two colors. This one, in the movie, Ariel's, tail is green. And then the top half I went with red because she's got the red hair. And also, her friend, the crab, Sebastian. So we had to have the crab claw as well as the trident as her two weapons. I think her habitat is probably my favorite. Her apartment is probably my favorite because it's got the aquarium in it with the sharks. You know, someday it might have LED lights in it, but for right now, I think that's probably my favorite little apartment. And then her bed is also, instead of just like a regular bed, it's like a little swimming pool, like a little bathtub, if you will, that she can sleep in. So that was another fun detail for her. And then again with the role reversal, we've got Prince Eric, you know, down there with his toolbox on the cart, and he's, you know, making some minor adjustments to that foot mechanism. And the other detail I love about Trident 1 is the little motors at the bottom of the legs that have the propellers on them. You know, because how does it move around in the water? Of course, it's got to have propellers. Yeah, so that's that one. And then there is a hidden figure in that section that I have challenged the attendees to look for. And it, of course, is Ursula the Sea Witch. Because that's, you know, probably, I think, one of my favorite enemies or villains of the movies.
I also love the kind of like double cockpit lids there with the shark and then the old, it almost looks like one of the classic space yellow ones.
It is. I've had it since I was a child. You know, many years ago, my parents sent me all the Legos that I had as a kid, and now I have them back. So, and I use that from a classic space set.
Awesome. So what do we have next down the line?
I think this is, as far as playability, to pick it up and use it as a figure and enjoy it and pose it, Emperor's Girl is the one. The concept behind this one was both sort of a samurai or a Chinese warrior like Mulan is in the movie. But also I have a few nods to the Predator of the Predator movies with the shoulder cannon and just the overall armoring of it. So it's a concept, a mash of those two things, like a armor that Mulan wears in the movie, and then also just a little tip of the cap to Predator with the shoulder cannon. And then we sort of mirror that same armor down there in her apartment with the armor that I've made, just, you know, a few little pieces here and there to sort of, again, a nod to the movie where she takes her father's armor and disguises herself as a man. That little plate right there with the writing on it, it actually says Dragon God on it. So it was just convenient that that's what the character said. So I couldn't resist putting it in there. I felt like Mulan was the most warrior-like, so of course I had to give her all the weapons. One of the attendees said to me, "I love that tool wall," and I thought, I guess that's right. There's a tool for every job, and so she has every tool. You know, some of the other details are, of course, the gold, the little lamp, all in her little apartment. The other fun thing about Emperor's Girl is that it can hold that big gun. So I can take out the sword and the shield, and they actually fit in that same fixture. And then, you know, because it's so posable, you can put it in all sorts of great, you know, poses for, you know, close-up shots, blurred shots. There's a lot you can do with that one. Like I said, it's the most playable one of all of them.
No, this is amazing. If you're going into battle, I think this would be the one you want right here.
It certainly is the most quick, fast, yeah, most warrior-like, I would say.
Fantastic. Now we go to a very different-looking one on the next kind of hanger here.
All right, so this is Jasmine, and her mech is called Third Wish. A lot of people have asked me about that name, Third Wish. And in the movie Aladdin, you know, you get the golden lamp, you make 3 wishes. For me, the question is, what would you do with those 3 wishes? And most people would say, well, I'd want perfect health, endless amounts of money. But what do you do for your 3rd wish? You already have like all the money you'd ever want, and you'll always be healthy. Well, what if Jasmine said, my 3rd wish, I want a Raja version, I want a mech version of Raja. Because the whole concept, the whole idea is that instead of these princesses waiting for someone to give them permission, give them something, they're going to take it. They're going to take what they want. They're going to defend their kingdom. They're going to defend their country. And that was the concept behind Jasmine's as well, is that she doesn't have to wait for Aladdin or the Emperor or Jafar. She has her mech tiger. She'll do whatever she wants now. Some of the funner details, or more fun details of her habitat and her mech I like the Gatling gun and the belt-fed Gatling gun. The little spinning blades on the end of the tail are a fun detail for me. And then moving into her apartment, I did put a Yago, a little tiny parrot. Of course, we have a baby Raja. But I did think about, desert, sort of Moroccan theme when I thought about the architecture and the coloring. Of course, in the live-action movie, there's a big fountain scene at the end, so I put the fountain in there. And then, the tons of treasure chests, because she's already got her first and second wish. So the treasure chests are full, gems, coins, everything you could think of. And then I added a few other, desert animals, the scorpion and the snake. And of course, I scratch built the lamp.
Yeah. I feel like for this one, the backdrop really adds a lot to it as well. I love that kind of desert motif you got there.
Yeah, that was part of the idea, and I was also limited by the amount of bricks that I had. We came to the end of this 2 weeks ago, and I just needed more bricks for the backdrop. So, we had to go with brown, we had to go with orange, we had to go with tan. That's what we had left.
It works nice. So now we'll move into the final hanger down here.
Yeah, so this is, I think, the first or second mech that I built. This is Dream Crusher. In the movie Tangled, there's a whole musical number about your dreams. So I named this mech Dream Crusher because, again, Rapunzel is not only taking what she wants, but maybe she's turning it back on other people and crushing their dreams. So I thought that was really a nice name, a clever name for this mech. The aesthetic of the mech is supposed to be both a concept of a knight in armor and also a castle. Of course, you've got the height for the tower that Rapunzel lives in. So Dream Crusher is the tallest of all the mechs, which just makes sense for Rapunzel. I also made her her little apartment very tall and added an elevator, to answer the question that I would inevitably get, like, how does she get in or how does she get out? And then a 2-for-1 is the back staircase with that little walkway. Stabilizes the mech because at this height it's very tippy. And then it also answers the question again, how does she get in? How does she get out? I think the kids and some of the parents really enjoy the frying pan as one of the weapons. In the movie Tangled, the only weapon that she has is that frying pan, and it comes in handy more than once. So that was a sort of a special order on the pieces for the frying pan. That's not something I just had laying around, luckily. And then I wanted something a little more aggressive for her other hand. So I went with the spikes, which I think are, the cones to airplanes, which worked out well. So start to finish, we're reimagining parts, we're reimagining pieces, and we're certainly reimagining what the princesses can do and, what their lives are like. The final detail for Dream Crusher is this little add-on mech that I made for Pasquale, her chameleon. We saw the chameleon in the big box store. It came in a whole set. We had to have the whole set just to get the Pasquale. And I think that my 12-year-old was part of the inspiration for this. And I think this is probably one of her favorite little details.
No, it's super fun there. And talk a little bit more, if you can, about the mech design here, because you've got so many different pieces kind of stuck on there. What's that like structurally? I know you mentioned it with it being this tall, it's easy to fall over.
Right, it's fully articulate. Okay. The only articulation it would perhaps lack that some of the other ones have is a hip rotation, but the hips will go back and forth, up and down, the knees, the ankles, shoulders, wrists, forearms. It's very articulate, just the height makes it very tippy. As far as the pieces go, purple is sort of at a premium in the Lego world, unless you really want to dedicate yourself to getting more purple. So I knew that I was going to have to go with a lot of different pieces in gray, darkened gray. So that's how we came to this, and then I was able to add a few purple details to sort of stick with the theme of Rapunzel and purple. I made some custom stickers here of her country's flag that at the end of the movie, she finally discovers that she is a princess, and that flag is the symbol of her nation.
Well, fantastic work on all of these. Do you have plans to represent any other Disney characters with their mechs, or even just maybe expand on these scenes you have here?
That's a great question. I've been asking a lot of attendees, where do I go from here? What do you think? And I've gotten suggestions of what about the villains? You know, if they don't fight each other, if they're sort of simpatico and they work cooperatively, what about villain mechs? What about an Ursula mech or a Jafar mech? And I really like that idea. The other concept I'd really like to explore is moving into further back in the canon for Disney princesses, maybe a Snow White mech. And it could be modular for 7 doors, so 7 parts, and then she's at the head, a little nod to the Voltron. So there's a lot you could do with this. I've had other suggestions to explore the DC universe in Mechs, but I really like this concept. I like exploring different gender ideas and showing everyone that, you know, you don't have to just wait for the prince to show up. If you've got the mech, you could take the kingdom.
There you go. Well, great work on these. They're super creative. I love how you've taken these and given each of them their own kind of personality here, so can't wait to see what you do in the future. Thank you.
You're sure welcome. Thank you very much.